This video is going to be all about translating the front end of your website. Hi, my name is Adam from WPCrafter.com, where I make WordPress videos for non-techies. And if you enjoy the content in this video, I'd like to encourage you to click on that subscribe button. And there's a little bell off to the right. If you click on that, YouTube will send you notifications when I upload new videos. So this world of ours is becoming a much smaller place, obviously, and the internet's really connecting us all. And really, the direction of things with the internet is we really have to do a better job of translating our websites. It's becoming more and more an important thing to have a translation for other languages on your website. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video. Now, there's lots of different solutions. This particular video, we're more specifically going to look at WPML, and we're going to go through installing it and trying to use it for a specific reason. And here's WPML's website right here. Now, there are multiple solutions for translating the front end of your website. But the reason I'm looking at WPML today is because they are doing some things that I really like. You know, on this channel, I talk a lot about page builders for WordPress. I really believe that's the future of WordPress and building sites using these page builders. And I really think it's forward thinking of WPML because they have made it very easy to translate content into other languages that you built using a page builder, and it works perfectly with Elementor and Beaver Builder, two of the most popular page building plugins and two of the ones that I talk about as well. However, it also works perfectly fine with Divi and some of the other page builders that use shortcodes. Now, the competition for translating, it's not so huge. There are several other plugins available. Another one is called Polylang, and if you saw my video last year about translating WordPress, I talked about that plugin and I also compared it to WPML, but that was before WPML had this page builder integration up and running. And you know, there's a lot of things to compare when you're comparing solutions. You could compare the price, you can compare the features, you compare the entry price. So with Polylang, it's free to get going, but the minute you start to need anything other than the basics, it's going to be a lot more expensive than WPML. Let me just try to look at some of the different options you have right now. So WPML, it's a purely paid solution. They have three different ways of purchasing it. You're going to want the middle way or this other way off here to the right. So the first option's just $30, but it doesn't include everything that you're probably going to want. You're going to want to get the $79 package. Now, the only difference between the package that's $79 and the one that's $195 is the $79 package. You just get 1 year of updates and support, where you can get a lifetime license for this $195. It's actually a very good deal if you need to translate your website, or if you are a web developer and you need to translate websites for your customers. And that is actually a really nice benefit of WPML, because once you have it installed on the website, it's really easy to purchase translations. So if you have a client that needs a translation, you can easily use your lifetime license to WPML, purchase a translation, and then charge them more, of course, because you are the expert. But that is your main difference between these two packages right here. And there's others. So there's Polylang right here. Now, Polylang is free, but the minute you need something, it's 99 euros for just one website, and then it starts going up from there. So a 25 site license is 500 euros, and I don't actually know if that's per year or what. I don't really see it distinguished here. So maybe it is not per year and it's a lifetime. I'm not. Oh, actually right here. This extension is subject to a yearly license fee. So for 25 sites, it's 500 euros per year. There might be a discount or something like that. So the minute you get into that paid territory, you see that WPML is, from a purely price perspective, a better route to go. So you can see right here, this specific extension is for Polylang, just for it to work with WooCommerce, where when you purchase WPML, it's going to work perfectly fine with WooCommerce and page builders like I was talking about. Here's another one, and this is actually kind of an eye-opener. It's called Weglt, and it's translations as a service. Everything's becoming an online service, so they said, hey, let's make translations an online service. I think with Weglt, this would probably be the easiest to implement, but it's probably going to be the most expensive to implement as well. It's kind of a translation as a service. If we look at the pricing, it has a totally different pricing model right here. It's a monthly subscription based upon how many words and how many languages you want. So if you want more than 2 languages, it's going to be 20 euros per month. And there's a little discount if you go yearly, 190 euros per year. So these things start to get really expensive really quick, and there's also a limitation on page views. And there's also a thought, what if Weglt didn't or ran out of money and had to close down the service? What happens to your translation at that point? I know a lot of things are going subscription as a service. I don't think that translations is something that in my mind I'm ready yet to pay for as a service. One thing though that Weglt does that the others, that WPML doesn't do and Polylang doesn't do, it has machine translation. So what happens with Polylang and WPML, when you want to go in and create a translation, you have to have someone enter in the different languages into it, where with Weglt they have machine translation. However, machine translation is very poor. I don't actually speak other languages, but whenever someone has trying to use machine translation to say something to me in English, it's always been a disaster, and I've heard nothing good about machine translation. Maybe they have a better system in place, but I can't imagine them having a better system than what is already out there for machine translations. So anyways, let's take a look back at WPML. So this 79 or 195 package comes with the main plugin and all of these different add-on plugins that it comes with for your specific situation. So if you're on their website and you go to documentation, right here it says add-on plugins. And you can scroll down and you can see what add-ons it actually comes with. And it kind of gives you an idea of everything that you're going to be able to do with WPML. Now, I will say one of my criticisms of WPML is it's not really easy to go here and realize what you need for your situation. I think they have a weakness in communicating things clearly. And I think that's partially because they might be more used to communicating with developers versus end users. And so that is one of my criticisms here, because I've already logged in and downloaded some things, and I wasn't downloading everything that I needed, and I got these warnings that I needed to install something else. So there are some bumps in the get up and going process with WPML for sure. So when you log in and go to the downloads area, here I am right here. You can see this right here is the main plugin, and here is a variety of other plugins that you can add to it to extend what it can do. Now, there's pros and cons of this. Now, with translations and the way they're doing things, I think the con is everything's not clear what you need. One of the pros is if they separate out all the functions of the plugin to just what you need, you're going to have a lighter website. Perhaps you're going to have a faster website than it would be if they just forced it all down your throat. So the add-on model is a very good thing. So what I needed to do is I installed the main plugin, which is right here. And then I thought all I needed was the page builder add-on that adds Beaver Builder and Elementor integration. However, when I went to activate this, it warned me that I also needed this right here. So I had to download and add that as well. Ultimately, it's not a big deal, but I wish things would be a little more clear on what I actually needed, or it would automatically do it for me. I would really like to see that. But here's the thing, WordPress is changing at such a rapid pace, and there's all these different things you might want to integrate into your website. And what's nice about WPML is they're on top of it. So right here you can see, for instance, Gravity Forms. This is the actual contact form solution I'm using on my website. It's they probably have one of the largest user bases as well for a paid forms plugin, and there's full integration with translations here with this add-on. Here's another thing right here. There's integration for advanced custom fields. I'm actually using this as well. I made a bunch of videos on advanced custom fields about 2 weeks ago with the launch of Beaver Themer, which is becoming a tool that people are now able to use and integrate into the pages on their websites. So anyways, and of course we've got WooCommerce right here, which is huge right now, and media, there's all these different things. So there's some things here that, you know, it could just be made a visually better and a little more clear, so I would know exactly what I needed to download and install. I'm not saying this is a reason not to go with WPML. I think WPML is really the direction to go if you need a rock solid translation solution for your website and you need to have it be reliable. WPML is definitely what you would want. Okay, so enough of this talking. I actually haven't used this new page builder integration, and it's actually been a while since I've used WPML. So we're going to go through a installation of it together and see how it works together. So I warn you, I'm going to make some mistakes, but that's okay. I'm going to leave them in. I'm not going to edit them out. So what I have done in order to save some time is I've gone ahead already and installed the 3 plugins for WPML. So I installed this one right here, which is the main one. And then when I installed this, the page builder add-on, it said that I needed the string translation, which was fine. I went ahead and added that. And what happens after you add it, you get these notices that you have to go through this configuration process with WPML. Now, I actually love it when a plugin has sort of a configuration or walkthrough process. I like how WooCommerce does it. I like how Lifter LMS does it. I kind of like that so I can know what to do next after I click on Activate. So let's go ahead and go through this together. I'm going to go ahead and click on Configure WPML. And here we are in the setup process. So right here, it is just saying what language is your content currently in. And so it already knows, or maybe it's guessing that it's English because I have the back end of WordPress in English. So let's go ahead and click on Next. And this is obviously probably where I'm going to choose which language that I want to translate my site into. And here are all of those options right here. Now, you probably wouldn't want to go crazy with this. You're only going to want the languages that you're willing to translate or hire someone to translate for you. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and speak German. I am German, by the way, if you haven't noticed already from my last name. I'm going to go ahead and click on Next, and let's see where it's going to take me. I've got the little spinning bit. It looks like it's going to just set everything up. And here we are, and we're at the language switcher. Now, this is something, if we're actually on the WPML website, let me see if they have it. Here's where they have their language switcher on this website, right here in the footer. But there's lots of different options, I'm sure, here of where we're going to actually put that switcher. So right here, it's just giving me the option to order my languages. I'm obviously going to leave it in this order, but it looks like we could just drag and drop our languages into the order that we want. I'm going to leave it into the English and then the German option. And then here's a option of what to do if there is a language without a translation. I'm going to leave this by the default, but it's nice that there's a little question here I can click on and it will give me some additional information about it. Obviously, if I'm going to install a translations plugin, it's because I'm going to actually add a translation. So next is some of the switcher options. We've got the menu language switcher, or to actually have it in a widget or a footer or something like that. So let's see what happens here. I actually don't, I haven't looked at the front end of this website in a while, and it looks like this is grayed out, and I wonder why this is. Oh, I see why. I don't actually have a menu declared in this website. That's fine. I'll have to go back into this setting later. And then here is a widget language switcher. So let's go ahead and click on it and add it. So let's choose our widget area here. I'm going to go ahead and I guess with this theme, it's giving me an option to put a widget in the header. I'll go ahead and choose that. Why not? And let's leave it like that. And so you get the option if you want it to be a drop down. I kind of like the horizontal list, and that would be just listing them out like this. And I actually like having the flag. So I'm going to click on this box here to have a flag. And there's other options right here that you can choose to enable or disable right here. I'll just leave it like that. I don't need a widget title or anything like that. It's nice that you can have different color schemes because this would really contrast perhaps with your design. So let's see what happens when I choose gray. Oh, that's actually your background there. I'm going to just leave it clear all colors like that and leave it as that. So let's go ahead and click on save. And now we've got that in the header. However, that's done via a widget. It's not actually done just to be right next to a menu. So we might need to tweak this a little bit. I'll also check this box here to throw that down in the footer area. Why not? And then right here, it gives me an option to actually show the links to the translations in an actual blog post. So if someone's on my blog, they come through maybe Google or something like that, there'll be an option. I'm not going to enable that. So let's go ahead and click on next. And it looks like this will probably take me to a registration process. I'm going to go ahead and find my key and paste that in and then come right back. Now, actually, I wanted to show you this process. I just figured it out. It just took a second to figure it out. The way this works is you have to copy your URL and then you log into your account area. You click on Add New Site and you paste your URL in. It's going to generate a site key. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this into my clipboard. And then I will go here and I will just paste it right in there and then click on register. And this is how it's actually going to work. And then I should, let's see, now let's click on finish. Okay, and then we should be done with this entire process and we can see what we have left to do. So this is actually nice. It now revealed all the menu options here on the left. And I actually like this. It's basically saying, you have Elementor on your website, the page builder, and I'm sure if I had Beaver Builder, it would say the same thing. You have Beaver Builder on your website. You need to install a component in order to get the translations to work right with this particular page builder. And it gives me the install option there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on install, and it actually took me right here to add or just check this box to download and install this add-on. So I guess that whole criticism I had maybe 5 minutes ago about how things aren't super clear and it would be easier if you can automatically install them in the plugin. Well, here it is actually. So I'm not going to edit that part out because it's a fair criticism. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and click on check and let's activate after download. I'm going to click on the download button. So I'm assuming it's now downloading and installing this translation management. So I bet if I installed the core plugin and I didn't put in the page builder plugin, I bet you it would have mentioned you're using Elementor. You need these several plugins in order to get it to work right. So now it looks like we have it installed and we are ready to go. So first, let's take a look at the front end of the website. I don't remember what I was using this plugin for or this example website for before. Okay, it looks like I have Generate Press on it, and here is that widget area right here, and I probably haven't declared a menu per se. This is actually kind of fine, but we can actually put this wherever we want to put it. And let's see if it put it in the footer. Oh, it did put it in the footer. I don't actually like how it did that. I think maybe a footer widget would have been better option for me, but I like that the option to automatically automatically put that in there is there for me, especially for people that might not be super power users of WordPress. It's nice to have an easier option in there. But for this, I would probably want it maybe in a menu. We can actually play around with that right now and just take a moment. So I would go to Appearance and then Menus like this, and we'll see what menus we have. It was saying that it didn't notice that I had a menu, and yes, it doesn't look like I have a menu right now. Okay, it looks like I'm getting a message here with that new add-on I plugged in. I'll get to that in a moment. So let's go ahead and call this menu 1. Let's clean this, let's trim some of these options down so we don't have such a large menu. And let's see, let me get rid of this and we'll go like that. And I'll click on Create Menu, and then we'll want to assign this menu, and then we'll want to see what it looks like integrating it with WPML. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the primary menu right there. And so now WPML should see this menu area right here. Let's see what happens when we try to integrate it together. So I'm going to go back into WPML, and this would probably be in the settings, but I don't see a settings option. So let's see what happens when I just click on WPML right here. And there we go. We have some of these options back for us. And here it is. Okay, so see, this was grayed out before, the menu language switcher. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I'm going to make it the last menu item. I'm going to choose my menu like that. And I see it like that. We could do that. I want to add a flag. It looks like it's going to add it as like a drop down option like this, which is actually totally fine for me. And we can change some other items. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save. I don't know how this is actually going to look on the black background. I guess we'll find out right now. Didn't give me an option to save anything, but that's all right. Let's go ahead and do a refresh and see if we also have the option here. Actually, I like this a lot. I like this. It looks perfect, actually. And I like this more than right here in the top right like this. I like that a lot. So I'm sure if we moved the menu here, it would just look perfect. It's probably inheriting the font color from the rest of the menu. I really like how seamless that is. And I'd probably make it just say English and not have the option here in the bracket. That was an option when I was choosing the menu. So far I'm really liking the ease of integrating this with this website right here. So let's see what these warnings are right here, or these notices. So right here, I need to click on this so that WPML will find all the strings of information for me to translate. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Scan Now, and it took me to this screen right here. And basically what this is saying is, if your themes and plugins already have a translation for it, we will use that and you can edit certain things from it. It'll be kind of like a fallback. Now the option right here is saying don't use any of the theme or plugin translations at all. I will create my own. And this option right here is just saying leave the whole thing alone altogether. So I'm just going to leave this as default, and I'm going to go ahead and click on save. And you can see when you scroll down, these are the different things that it found, the different themes, and it found the translations or whatever translations. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this other notice right here, and it says one more step before you can translate Elementor. I'm sure if it was Beaver Builder I had, it would give me the same notice for Beaver Builder. I need to enable this translation editor to translate the different strings in the page. Okay, so a string is basically just a block of text or a sentence or a word, whatever in your page builder you have separate from all the different blocks of headlines and paragraphs and all that. It's just a different string. So, okay, it looks like it's doing some scanning and stuff like that. This is fine. So let's go ahead and see what it's like. I'm going to set up a new page in Elementor. I'm just going to use one of the templates, and then I'm going to show you what the experience of translating a page is actually like. So let's go to pages, and then I've got a bunch of pages here, but I don't know what I've done with any of them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Add New, and let's call this page WPML. Okay, so I'm using Elementor and I'm using GeneratePress. With GeneratePress, I want to tell it that I'm going to use a page builder for this page. So I need to click on Content, No Sidebars. Right here, I need to click on Full Width, and I think I need to click right here to disable the title. I'm going to scroll up right here, click on Publish. Now what I want to do is I want to load in one of the templates for Elementor. So I'm going to click on Edit with Elementor just to load in one of the templates. So here it is right now. And I think, let's go. I'm going to go to Add a Template right here. And then I'm going to choose one. And this is the one I'm actually going to choose. It's the homepage interior. This is one of their Elementor's Pro templates. If you're not familiar with Elementor, I have a ton of content on it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Insert. And what this does is it just downloads and inserts everything into the site right here. And so these are the strings, right? This word right here is a string. This block of text is a string. This two words right here, the way it is a string. All of these words here are strings that you would want to have translated. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and save it and then go back to the dashboard so that we can go through and see what it's like to actually translate what is on it. So I'm going to click on Exit, go back to Dashboard, and it takes me back here. So what we need to do probably is right here where it says Translate and there's a little plus. I think we just need to go ahead and click on that plus, and it's going to start walking us through what we need to do. And this is right now going to demonstrate the beauty and ease of WPML when using a page builder. So instead of doing all kinds of wonky things, what it did is it scanned the Elementor page and it found all these strings of information. Remember, welcome, this paragraph, interior designer, all these different strings of information, and it breaks them all down into separate areas here where I can just put the translated word off to the right. And it has this nice thing here where it will tell me how complete it is and stuff like that to track everything. So for the page title, I put WPML. I would put the translated page title here. And the same goes for everything. Here's where I'd put the translation for welcome. Here's where I would enter in the translation for that paragraph of text. And here's where it says interior design. This is where I would put that in, and so on and so forth. This is all there is to translating a page that you created using a page builder, and the same exact thing, the same exact screen would happen if you're using Beaver Builder. It is very seamless and easy, and I really like that they built this and it works this way. Now, if you're using Polylang, what it does is it creates a duplicate version of the page, and then you have to go back into the page builder, and then you have to go and you have to, in the page builder interface, you have to change every word. This just makes so much more sense. And might I add, it's also easier if you've hired a translator, say on Upwork or something like that, and you give them access to log in and put that translation in. It's easy for them to come here and just put in the translated word versus having to go into your page builder. They're not going to know what the heck a page builder is or how to use it, most likely, because they're translators. They're not WordPress developers. They can just come here and just put in whatever the translated words are. And right here, it's going to give you a tally of how complete this translation is. So I don't know how to speak German. I'm German. I don't know how to speak German, so I'm not going to be able to translate this page, unfortunately. But anyways, you would just go ahead and pop it in there and then click save or save and close, and that will get you out of this interface that we were just in. So literally, it's just a matter of creating your pages, and then going back here and then clicking on that little plus for each language that you want to translate this particular page into. And I really like how it does it outside of the page builder experience, and it just lists everything out like that. Let me finally dismiss this notice here. It's getting a little annoying. Okay, so then we need to probably translate some things like site titles, menu items, and stuff like that. And I'm going off the cuff here, so let's go ahead and take a look at my menu, and let's see if there's an option there with menu menus to change the translation. Actually, here it is right here. I guess I would make a alternative menu and I would assign it to the alternative language, and then when someone switches language, it would use that alternative menu. So, well, actually, we also have this option here where it says translations German, and then we have a plus. Let's see what happens when I click on the plus. There it is. It's giving me the option to build out that same menu, but this time in the German language, and link the translation up to this particular menu. So I guess I would just give it a name and then click on create menu. I just put menu 1 German. Let's just see what happens. I'll go ahead and click on create menu, and let's see if it gives me my options here. So oddly enough, it doesn't give me my options here for the pages. And you know why that is? Because I haven't created any translations for the pages. I'm sure if I had a translation, it would be listed here as pages that I could add to the German menu. That's pretty easy. So now let's take a look at some of these setting panels here, and then we'll wrap this video up. But I hope you see how actually easy it is to translate your website when you're using a comprehensive tool like WPML. So here is those initial settings options that we had when I first set everything up. This is when I set up that widget in the header. Actually, let me remove that because I did not like it. It was the option right here. I like it right there instead. And it inherits the style. I really like that. I actually also didn't really like the footer that much, but I'll leave it. So let's look at translation management right here. Now, what I believe this is, and I might be on the wrong setting in the menu here. I know that WPML also has a sister service that you can hire a translator to, and then you can order a translation of your website in any language that you want. So I guess right here is where you would do it in this translation management. You can have it count the words that need to be translated and everything. You can click on here. You could probably find translators right here. Actually, what's nice about this is it looks like it integrates with multiple translation service websites. So right here, I can localize. I think that's the one owned by WPML right here. Yes, the makers of WPML. So that might be the one to go with. And you can scroll down, you can see all of these different services that it integrates with. Wow, I actually didn't realize how many options they gave you. This is actually really powerful because if you're a web developer or you're just someone that needs the translation up and running, this is a real easy way to just have an expert translate your website for you, and you just pay whatever it is per word. I like that. And then I guess you can order your translation. It'll be here in your translation jobs, and you can link it all right back up very easily into your website. I think that's pretty seamless and awesome. Here is where you can localize your themes and plugins. This is changing some of the words that appear from within your theme and within your plugins to have an alternate language. And then there's also an option here for support. Oh, here's the plugins. Sorry, I didn't scroll down far enough. So I left Give on this site for a reason. That's the donation plugin. And you can see it's fully translated. Wow, this is awesome. Look how fully translated all of these plugins that I already have on here are. Okay, so we've got that. We've got a link to support. We have a link to our translations, packages. I wonder if that is just the different plugins. Let's see, packages. I'm not positive the purpose of the packages. String translation, and then taxonomy translation. What your taxonomy translation is, these are your categories and tags on your website. So say you have blog posts in different categories, you can translate those. They're called taxonomies. You can translate those as well. So anyways, this has been kind of a overview of WPML and how it stacks up today against some of the other translation options. And I really like, just to sum it all up, I really like what they're doing to stay on top of the direction of where WordPress is going. So WordPress is going to page builders, okay? Most people are building their sites with page builders. It's a red hot market, and I really like that WPML is saying, where is WordPress going and how can we integrate with it? How can we make it easier for people that are building websites today to translate their website? And I really like the ease of ordering a translation when you want to add a different language to your website. I bet that would get pretty expensive if your main website is a blog and you're constantly adding content. It could probably get very expensive very quick. This is probably why you won't see a translation on my personal website. I will be leaving it in English just from a pure economics perspective. So I do have links to everything in the description, the video description down below. I have a link to WPML. I also have a link to Elementor down below. I do have a bonus package with Elementor if you're interested in that. And both of those, if you did click on those links and made a purchase, it goes to support the channel, to support me in making all this content for you. Now, if you are using a translation tool for your website, I'd love to hear about what you're using down below in the comments section. Or if you've used WPML in the past, I'm very curious of what your experience was using WPML. I will say, I don't think WPML is perfect. I think it's phenomenal. It's the best there is. I don't think it's perfect. I think some things from a user perspective could be made a little easier. I think some of their messaging on the actual website could be more clearer to someone going there to know exactly what they need and stuff like that. But some of the pluses with them is they've been in the translation business longer than anyone else. They have deep documentation. I didn't show you this here, but they have a very deep series of documents there. So it's going to be really easy to get up and running really quick using WPML to translate your website. And like I said, I love the fact that it's going to work with WooCommerce. It's going to work with any page builder. I like the way the translations work with the page builders. It's just a fantastic plugin. If I needed a translation solution today, there'd be no doubt that I'd use WPML to translate my website.